reaction to Ireland versus Scotland in the Six Nations. It finished 19-12. Ireland got the victory, just the one try in it in the first half. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, and joining me to talk about all of this is Stephen Harris. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning, Paul, or good evening, wherever you are in the world at this time. And once again, a privilege and a pleasure to be on the TDM.
It is. It is. Chatting to all you guys, and it's been a long night, hasn't it? We've had the amount of rugby this weekend has been crazy. We've kicked off with the Super Rugby again this weekend, so a lot of us were up at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning here in New Zealand to watch those games. We also had Wales Italy today, and then Ireland Scotland. This one kicked off. Scotland had all the possession early doors, but and got a couple of got a penalty, but just couldn't really break down an Irish defence. And that was the taste of things to come, wasn't it? Scotland really spent most of the games bashing themselves against green wall.
Very much so, Paul. Listen, they started with a lot of intent. They put some fantastic phases together without really getting in behind the Irish, which is probably something that they'll probably look at moving forward. If you need to score tries, it's all right producing that very, very quick ball. But I thought in the early stanzas, all they were really doing, whilst it looked impressive, I just thought they were going side to side without actually getting in behind the Irish.
Yep. Ireland then, on their first attack, marched down the field, bashing away at the line, get themselves an advantage, and then a really nicely engineered move, as the commentator said, straight off the training park, seeing Sexton walk over totally untouched, and you're thinking at that point, Ireland executing quite nicely.
Yeah, very much so. And listen, credit to the new coach as well, Farrell, who's come on board. They often said during the commentary what we were seeing from this Irish team was a few more offloads. So maybe he's come away from the World Cup thinking, gee, we play in such a narrow channel, we'll just move that ball just a little bit wider. And some great skill, great little offload. I'm always impressed with the work rate of the Irish front row, but that was a great little offload which pretty much took out two defenders, and it was worked so well. Really and truthfully, there were probably a couple of other guys outside Sexton who could have scored.
Yep, no, absolutely. But from 5 metres out to go over totally untouched, and not even at pace. I mean, you just walked over.
Yeah.
It shows that you've really have managed to work a big gap, which you normally don't get. After that, though, basically it was two sides bashing into each other. We had Scotland made 3 clean breaks, apparently. Ireland only 4. Yeah, it was a matter of bash away at the opposition, and then either, in Scotland's case, get turned over with the breakdown, or in Ireland's case, basically kick it for territory and make Scotland play for a long way out.
Yeah,
that was basically the remaining 70 minutes.
Paul, it was it really ended up being a game for the loose forwards, didn't it? A lot of turnovers, and I suppose there's no irony that man of the match was a loose forward and CJ Stander. In fact, I was actually impressed with in the main all the loose forwards that actually that took the pitch today. I felt a little sorry for the boy. Is it Doris, the number 8, who came off pretty early on his debut? But it's pretty handy when you can bring somebody of the likes of Mahoney. Is he a veteran these days, Paul?
Well, I think so. British Irish Lions captain.
Exactly. That's pretty handy, and I thought he was pretty solid in the main. You sort of look at that Scottish loose forward trio of. I was quite impressed by Haining, the big number 8.
Mm-hmm.
He does a bit of work. So does Richie. They're all sort of constructive type loosies. Who will basically do all their basics well, but they don't kind of have that X factor in terms of carrying that'll get you over the advantage line. But I thought for Scotland, the boy Hamish Watson, who's not a big loose forward, always basically plays above his weight, doesn't he, Paul?
Absolutely. He's very slippery, so he kind of bounces off and tends to break tackles, but also puts in a very good work rate on defence. And even in the maul, where you're thinking, okay, the smaller guys really don't do that much, he gets himself, being smaller, he can get beneath some of the binds and get through the maul to attack the ball as well. So yeah, no, he also had a really good game. Someone who's taken a lot of flack in this leading up to this has been Colin Murray. So people saying he's not in form, not playing well. I thought he was getting to the breakdown quickly, and also letting the referee know very clearly where the Scotland infringements were. Now, whether that was because he was getting his hands in and make sure he could that any player that hadn't rolled away very quickly was immediately blocking him, or whether it was doing other things. He had a I think Colin Murray stepped up today when the big time for the big time game.
Oh, very, very much so. He just knows that experience. He just knows how should we say, manipulate the referee. Make sure that there's a body lying in the way. And I think there was a couple of times he pulled quite a very, very smart penalty where he basically made sure he was going to trip over the player. The referee, you could see the referee thinking about it, but the referee was thinking, no, I'll let it go. And if he hadn't tripped over the player, I think the penalty would have probably went his way. No, I think he was pretty much a key man in this Irish effort, just sort of looking at the rest of their back line. We all know what a great player Stuart Hogg can be, but I thought Jordan Lamore was more than tidy at the back for Ireland. More importantly, took some really good options from the fullback position.
He did also chase the ball well, and that was another thing that between these two sides, Ireland kicked a lot better. Scotland's kicking was always just that 5 metres too long, so the chasers couldn't challenge for the ball. Ireland's either it was kicked so they could be challenged, or it found grass. There were very few poor kicks from Ireland today, which is pretty standard of them. And that was another one of these things that meant that Scotland were always having to play out further back and having to go extra metres before they got within range to be able to score or look dangerous. They did look dangerous though, and Hogg even got himself over the line in the corner. Here we are, we're talking about a British and Irish Lion. We're talking about someone who's been argued as being the best fullback in the world, a very, very talented player. But in this occasion, there he is, right out on the left wing, goes over the line, unopposed, and just drops the ball. And that's the difference between losing and drawing this game.
Yeah, I think there's a lesson there for a lot of youngsters, or in fact there's a lesson there for any rugby player. If you're going to put it over the line, make sure you've got it in two hands and get the put down. I pretty much picked it straight away because he tried to sell it, and as he was walking back, he was sort of cussing under his breath. So you kind of knew, yeah, this has gone south. I think he knew the game was up, and unfortunately, we know he's a very, very good player, but he just had one of those days, and it's certainly a game that he won't want to remember in a hurry.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of people who sort of like on Twitter going, why was he celebrating if he knew he dropped it? Well, because he thought he might get away with it. Try and get the referee to give the penalty and take a very quick conversion. But no, it didn't happen.
Maybe I was going to say maybe pre-TMO, Paulie would have got away with it, could have sold it.
Maybe pre-TMO. Seen a couple of tweets about players going down pretty easily, particularly Conway on like the kick chase. But look, if you're chasing a kick, another player isn't looking at the ball and looks at you and then steps in your direction. There is look, they have penalised, they've infringed. Now, if you try and stay on your feet, all you're going to do is not get the penalty and not reach the ball. So you're going to go down. You have to because to get the infringement. They're the guys that have made that have done the foul play. We shouldn't be having a go at the guy who goes down when he's taken out there. So yeah, some really soft penalties by Scotland in that kind of situation. We also had another one, Ali Price, standing by the ruck, taking out Colin Murray. And those those soft penalties were the difference between winning and losing this game. In the end, they gave up 14 penalties to Ireland's 9. Yeah, 9's a lot by Ireland. Ireland didn't have a great game today, but they kept their noses in front because Scotland just couldn't maintain a discipline.
No, I always felt that, Paul. I know we spoke pre-game, and I think I might have even on my Twitter handle at Stephen73_H. I tweeted at halftime that I thought if Ireland scored maybe a try directly after half-time. I think it was sort of like big brother playing little brother, just had enough arm's length to push them away. Although what kept you interested was, like you said previously, before the start of the show, it was a one-score game. And you think of that one score that Stuart Hogg didn't touch down.
Mm-hmm.
Anything could have happened if it had gone in. If they'd gone into that last couple of minutes, 5 minutes, even Stevens, well, then we're coming down to a penalty. But listen, let's make no bones. I know there'll probably be some very disappointed Scottish supporters out there, but the better team actually won today, just because they just executed that little bit better. Those opportunities that Scotland will look at, even there was a break up the middle. Gee, you needed some support players there in a hurry, because every time it went to a ruck, Ireland were able to scramble and get some numbers back. And then I come back to their loose forwards where CJ Stander, and if Stander wasn't the man of the match, I'd probably give it to Rory van der Flier in the number 7 jersey, because he was pretty much everywhere as well.
Yep. And yeah, Ireland were the better side. But it's one. There are sometimes those games where if you just keep yourself in it, you've got a chance of nicking it at the end and stealing the game. But yeah, that wasn't to be tonight. But yeah, and it would have been stealing the game by Scotland if they'd won this one, to be fair. Looking forwards then, we've already had Wales beating Italy quite comfortably, but Italy really didn't show too much. Wales, I think, have got Ireland up next weekend. Do you think both sides are going to need to improve on this opening one, aren't they? I wouldn't say rust, but just things just weren't really working for both sides for the sides all sides so far this weekend.
I suppose. Listen, I liked Scotland's intent. I thought there was a lot of intent, but it's really just about finishing opportunities that makes them. And yeah, they're capable. You think back to that draw they had at was it at Twickenham, Paul, where they came back against England, and really and truthfully probably not a little bit unlucky not to have won that match. So they have got points in them, but they've really got to get their support runners in the right place. There were little opportunities. Halfback made a little bit of a break near the end there. Support just didn't get to him quick enough. It's just simple things like that. And Ireland will improve because they look like they've got a little bit of flair at the back, and if they're looking to maybe put a little bit more offload into their game, then all good. Just touching on Wales, Italy. Once again, I tweeted out about Italy's status in Six Nations, and really from my view, it's more in and around frustration. They've been in this comp for 20 years, and you want to see some incremental improvements, even if it's one part of their game. Listen, I don't really even care if they're getting beaten up front, but man, if they're doing some exciting things in the backs, or if they've got a solid platform, in the same way, if I can give an analogy, Argentina did. We all knew what Argentina were for many years. They were pretty much a 10-man team, strong forward pack, good set piece. They'll kick their goals, whether it's via penalty or drop kick. Now, I had no issues with that, because that was the one trick they were very good at. And but they've improved their game in recent times, where they've got an all-round game, and that's pretty much what I'm wanting from Italy, just to improve at least one area of your game, guys.
Yeah, they looked nice today, but there was no cutting edge to them, unfortunately, and that's why they didn't get any points. So they're going to need to find some sort of cutting edge against France, because France is who they're playing next weekend. Because France, yes, will have cutting edge. We've seen their young backs, in particular, at the Rugby World Cup, so that's going to be an interesting one. Scotland host England next up, and again, they can't afford to have Hogg or he wasn't the only one. Let's be honest here, dropping over the line. Their support running needs to be improved, and their breakdown work needs to be vastly improved. And that was one of Italy's big problems. Actually, was they were too loose looking after the ball when he went at the breakdown. But between Ireland and Wales, execution is going to be Ireland's big thing. Against Scotland, they could afford to just keep knocking over those threes and holding them at arm's length. Against Wales, I don't think that's going to be enough next weekend. I think there'll definitely be more tries in it next weekend. So, thank you very much, Stephen. You've let everyone know. Catch Stephen Harris on Twitter, and also you'll hear his mercurial tones on Radio Sport, commentating the odd game here or there as well. Don't forget to hit subscribe down below and that bell for notifications, because I'll be doing live post-match reaction to the Jaguares versus the Lions later today, and I'll be back tomorrow morning for France versus England as well. And I'll be looking at trying to do post-match reactions to all the Six Nations games this tournament. So, hit that subscribe and hit the bell to get those notifications. Finally, check out DrivingMaul.com for predictions across the Six Nations tournament. And enjoy whatever you're watching, folks.